Good morning everyone, welcome to Again Craft. In this video I'm going to rant again. Many of you asked in the previous video what do I think about wood finishes and what do I think about the saturated market of different kind of finishes. Osmo oil, this and that, varnish and this and that. Look, I live in Eastern Europe, right? And I don't really have so many options here, to be honest. I really want to try out Osmo because they say it's great, or Odie's oil, because pretty much 95% of big YouTubers who do woodworking stuff are endorsing Odie's oil, which I find a little bit sus, to be honest. But hey, I'm always a cynical guy, you know. I grew up on the internet. I'm cynical. I was born before the internet. Anyway, so two things I can see is Osmo and Odie's. And I find it a little bit suspicious that why everyone using those two? Because, you know, in Eastern Europe here, I didn't have a chance to buy all this stuff. So what I had to do, I had to look up the technical sheet, okay? And reverse engineer from the safety sheet that, because the safety sheet says that if this product goes into your system, in your eyes, mouth, whatever, show this to the doctor, and the doctor will know what to do. And in that paper, it says what it is made of, because of health and safety regulations. You know, you have to know that. And I was like, can I replicate this shit at home? You know, because I can't buy it. Like buying a little tin like that would cost me about $100 to get here. So I did a lot of research and I dug around. And you know, guys, what I found? I found that the market is filled with so many different kind of finishes, brands, products, priced to the fucking sky, right? And basically, okay, the finishes are built up from three different things. Either is some sort of oil, either is shellac, which is part of a bug, or polyurethane, or some kind of a varnish, natural or artificial, whatever. And these are the three building blocks. Now, all these different brands mix this shit in some way or another with other chemicals to make it thinner, make it easier to apply, easier to spread, different color, different smell, whatever the fuck, you know. And they stick a price on it for about $100, $200, $300. I'm like, fuck off, I don't have that kind of money. So anyway, long story short, I want to show you, I want to open your eyes to the fact that you are being ripped off on wood finishes. You can make your own, and it's faster, cheaper, more efficient, okay? And also, you can save off to big corpo, okay? Because you make your own, and also you are doing better to the environment because you're not buying all that consumer products. You just get a jar like this, you buy a kilo of this, and you buy a kilo of this or liter of this, and you have basically unlimited amount of wood finish. But anyway, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. So the second part, I want to talk about the different kind of wood finishes you can apply to your wood or epoxy or artwork. The first and most commonly used finish is an oil finish, okay? This is what everybody uses mainly on wood, and it's very easy to apply. There are several different kind of oils, oil finishes, wipe-ons and all that. You don't need to worry about any of them. You need to buy oil. What kind of oil you should buy? You can buy Danish oil, which is a pre-mixed oil of different seeds. You can buy tung oil, yeah, and you can buy, this is really hard to explain, bunky oil. This is basically an exterior hardwood oil, solvent based, and it's really hardcore stuff. But you don't have to buy that. You just buy pure linseed, buy pure tung. I recommend tung because I had the most success with it. And then you buy some white spirit. When you apply oil on wood, I strongly advise to thin up your oil with white spirit because it will penetrate better. Now, how I do it, I do 50-50 of oil and white spirit. I measure it out and I put it in the magic juice jar. Now, as you can see it on the edge of the jar, can you see it? It's hardened tung oil on it. I used this jar for a year now, so yeah. Anyway, so I just pour both in there. I go like this, and I keep it in this glass jar, right? And this is my 50-50 tung oil white spirit combination. I use 2 coats of this. So what I do is I wipe on the first coat, okay? I let it soak in because white spirit is a carrier material for the oil, so it's gonna make the oil penetrate more into the wood, and then white spirit gonna evaporate and oil gonna harden inside. I do 2 coats of that, and then I use a Scotch-Brite. Yeah, so I wait for it to harden, and I just use a green Scotch-Brite to smoothen out the top, and then I use pure tung oil, just like a tiny amount on. Some people use paper towels. I prefer microfiber because they make it here and it's dirt cheap for me to get. So I get a little bit on the microfiber and they spread it out. But you can use any kind of rag or paper towel. You just make sure that it doesn't leave little particles all over the place, okay? And that is an oil finish. I made it myself, and boy, let me tell you, this is 1 liter of pure tung oil. It's made by, it's not sponsored, it's made by Libern. I don't know if you can get it in the States. It's made in Britain, right? This is the coolest shit. And white spirit, yeah, white spirit. White spirit you can get anywhere. Mineral spirit in the US, I'm not sure if those two are the same. But anyway, you check it out. And this is how you make your own oil finish, okay? I use this on basically everything which I apply oil to. I have this bunky oil, and this is a protective oil for exotic hardwoods. I use mahogany in the workshop, as you can see down there. Yep, there. That's mahogany. And when I make tables out of it, I use this oil because hardwood is very tightly fibered. And this is a very thin oil which goes in there and hardens out really cool. So, but it's really hard to get. This is the only place I found. Actually, there's a little shop on the island, and that was the only place I could find it ever. So I never seen it before, and ever since. Your mileage may vary. So these are the oils, okay? So you don't have to buy the most expensive. You know, Osmo oil, but all this oil or this oil or that oil. Ugh, that. You don't need that. Okay? Just they do the same thing as pure oil and something carrier material. White spirit in this case. Okay? So don't waste your money on these expensive sponsored brands which are saturating the entire hobby. Okay? You don't need that. Now the other thing you can use is varnishes. 2 different kind of varnish you can apply. You can apply solvent-based varnish, yeah, and you can apply water-based varnish. Now the difference between the two: solvent-based dries slower because it's solvent-based. Carrier material is white spirit usually. Check the tin, okay? And what you do with this is the exact same thing what you do with the oil. 50-50, mix it in, and you're gonna get a thinner varnish juice, which you can apply with the sponge. I apply it with the sponge. I'm lazy, okay? And I used to be a painter as a job back in the day, so I don't like brushing on varnish because the bubbles and everything. I'm getting carried away. Get a sponge, put it in the mix, wipe it on. And this is your wipe on finish. You made it at home. You don't have to buy 20 bucks per 200 mils, okay? You made it at home. And let me tell you, this is 8 bucks and $1. So from $9, I have basically made 200 bucks worth of varnish. Yeah. So this is how the market is. So where was I? Yes, mix it 50-50, wipe it on, let it cure, let it dry, scuff it up. This is a little bit harder, so I would recommend to use like something like I don't know, 180, 240 grit sandpaper instead of Scotch Brite. Scuff it up, okay? Do another thin coat, scuff it up, and do a thin, very thin finish coat without thinner in it. And then sand it smooth, and you can polish it up to, I mean, if you have the material thickness, like you put enough layers on it, you can polish it up to 5K even, okay? So you can have shiny finish. Now, one thing about polyurethane finish on epoxy, I tried it. I tried to use varnish on my epoxy, but it made it look worse. So if you wanna get a proper shiny finish on your epoxy, dude, just polish it up. Epoxy is hard enough and clear enough to give you the good finish. You don't have to apply this to epoxy resin, so just go around it if you are making a piece or something. If it gets on it, it gets on it. You know, you can wipe it off and go. You know, but you don't have to cover the epoxy with it. If you're not, yeah, just polish it up. That's all I want to say. Water-based is also great when you are trying to build up a Water-based is also great when you're trying to build up a layer of varnish on your wood. Basically works similar to solvent-based. Only thing is it dries faster. So when you put this on, it has less time to soak in and spread. I prefer solvent-based. Some people love water-based. Hey, test and decide. Okay, so this is varnish. The third finish is shellac, and I don't have shellac on hand, right? Yeah, I don't have shellac, but shellac gives you French polish. You remember, I don't know if you remember, but where I'm from, back in the 60s and 70s, like in the Soviet era, everything was finished with shellac. We had wood grain furniture, but it was shiny like a mirror, right? And that was basically shellac. You can find many good training videos. Actually, there is a guy, wears glasses, Stumpy something, the YouTube channel. He gave a very good tutorial how to make your own shellac finish. So you basically put the particles in it, you mix it with denatured alcohol, and then you apply it on, and that's shellac finish. It's great, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous. It is really hard to get your hands on shellac material here in Greece, so I don't have it, but I want to play around with it. Maybe in the future I make a video about it. And that's that. And the last but not least, waxes. Okay, wax is not a permanent finish. Wax comes off. Wax is a softer finish. So basically is less hard than oil. So if you go hardness, we got varnish, and we have oil, and we have wax. All of them are coats, so eventually they will come off from the wood, but they have different hardness levels. I use wax on pieces which you're just gonna leave, like wall art or something like that, where you don't have to have, it's not gonna be handled. This is what I mean. If I just want to preserve the wood, I just put wax on it. Now, most of the pre-made finishes you can buy, they contain silicone. Okay, a lot of silicone, and I would advise you not to use silicone on the wood when you are finishing it off, because it will create a barrier layer, and then it will stay in the grains and come off from the top, and it will be very hard to reapply anything afterwards. Okay, so forget silicone. Silicone is bad. Okay, now finishing epoxy. How do you finish epoxy? Many of you asked this question, and it took me about a year of experimentation of how to finish epoxy, how to seal epoxy, how to treat epoxy, and how to, you know, how to get it customer ready. Now, there are several different ways you can go about this. Depends on how fine, how smooth is your top layer. What works for me might not work for you also. So what I usually do, if I don't do a flat coat, if I just, you know, sand it, I send it up to 5K in the following increments. I go 40 grit, 80 grit, not always 40 grit, but sometimes I have to get it off the wood around it, you know, because it's splattered all over. So I use 40 grit to get rid of that. I use 80, I use 120, 180, 240 grit sandpaper to, you know, get rid of all the scratches. And after 240, I hit it with 400. I do double as much passes with the 400 than I done with the 240, because I skip one, 320 I think. I don't have 320 paper. You can't get 320 paper here, so I have to use 400. Don't worry, if you don't have one of the grits, just go to the next one and do twice as much, right? Should do the trick. Also, you always use a fresh sandpaper. So yeah, I do 400 grit, and then I go to my polishing discs, which is almost like same sanding disc. I do 800, 600 or 800, 1K, 2K, 4K, 5K, 2K, 3K, 4K, 5K. Depends on what's in my hand, okay? Basically, I try not to skip a step, but if I skip one, I do double as much at the next step. And I wet sand from 1000, no, what do I do? I wet sand from 2000 up to 5K, and I would try to polish it up to 10K, and I bought 10K discs, but I lost it. It's somewhere here in the workshop, but I don't have it on hand. So 5K it is. After 5K, I like car detailing as a hobby. So I recognize that epoxy, when it hardens, it's like the clear coat on your car. It's just as durable and just as easy to scratch. So after 5K, when I have this hazy plastic finish, I go to my handy dandy compound and polish. Now, these two chemicals are like cream cleaner in England. I don't know how you call it. It's basically a liquid, and it has some scratchy particles in it. Compound is basically to be used to remove bigger scratches. Bigger scratches, I mean like hairline scratches, to be honest. So after 5K, I use compound, which is like a toothpaste. I put it on, and you can use your orbital sander with a all that with a foam pad like this. You just slap it on, and yeah, you just go around it, you know, and you can use that. Or if you have more experience, you can use your angle grinder, put the disc on it with the proper head. This is gonna be fucking fast, so you have to be very careful not to burn it. But best if you just buy a cheap random, what is it? Random orbital polisher. Anyway, there is a machine. It's like an angle grinder, and it rotates and orbits, like goes like this and goes like this randomly, so you can't burn the epoxy when you are polishing it. You don't heat it up that much. Costs about 50 bucks. I didn't find a good one yet, so that's why I don't have it. But yeah, buy one of those. Do your finish with that. Once you're done with compounding, most of the scratches are gone, and you're gonna use polish. Same thing, it's just finer particles in it. Go around it, go about it, and you should have a shiny surface almost as when you flat coat something, okay? If you don't, then go back to the last step when it was nice and consistent and repeat from that point, okay? Simple as that. With a little practice, you can finish it up very easily. If you flat coat epoxy, or if you polish epoxy, how you can finish epoxy. Now, epoxy is a very, very, very hard material, but it's not scratch proof, okay? So what I recommend to use is 9K ceramic coating on your epoxy, but that's very hard to apply. It's basically a liquid, and it comes with a satin cloth, and you have to wipe it on evenly on your epoxy. Needs a lot of practice and is very expensive. So what I found, the cheaper solution is crystal ceramic coating. This is a cheapo brand made locally. It's a knockoff of Maguire's ceramic coating spray bottle. It's basically made by Maguire's, and it's a green bottle, and you just spray it on. What I'm trying to say is, has the same ceramic coating particles as that, you know, very fine cloth application thing, but this is solved in water. So what I do with this is what I do with all my cars and motorcycles. I spray it on and I wash it off, and that creates a ceramic coating. So how I do it with epoxy, it's very simple. I spray it on the epoxy, I get a wet rag, and I just wipe it off. And that's it. These are different finishes you can buy. These are the finishes you can apply. If you're finishing up and trying to seal epoxy, go for car detailing finishes, because whatever keeps your clear coat safe on your car, it will keep the epoxy safe in your artwork. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't buy the expensive stuff. You can have it for cheaper if you make it at home, and it costs less, and it gives you the satisfaction that you did something, you made something, it's done by you, okay, and you didn't bought something to solve your problem. It's a problem you solved by yourself, okay? I don't know, could be just me, okay, could be just me, but I hate it when big corporations try to sell me the cure for the illness they came up with, right? Ooh, this was meta. But anyhow, what I'm trying to say is, guys, don't be afraid to experiment, okay? You don't have to buy the expensive shit. You can make it at home, like the people before all this hobby became a gold mine for big Chinese corporations who make this stuff and put different kind of labels on it and sell it to people and make them fight between each other because A brand is better than B brand and B brand is better than A brand, and divide everyone on this. Fuck that. Just buy the basic compounds, Mix it at home. We are artists here. We have to experiment. We have to create. Create your own finishes. Don't be afraid. That's all I'm trying to say. And thanks very much for watching. I know it's a long one. I know it's a ranty one. But I hope you got something out of this video. And if you're still here, would you be so kind to give me a comment or hit a like on this video, and God forbid subscribe, because I have like 100 subs and I really want to grow this channel and I really want to, you know, get my voice heard. So if you agree with me, help me out here, bud. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!